in the chambers. For people that are standing in the back on the floor, please find a seat, or you can join us upstairs in the balcony. Thank you so much for your cooperation. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's stated meeting. At this time, please silence all electronic devices. Silence all electronic devices. There is no food that is allowed to be eaten in the chambers. There is no standing room in the back. If you need to join us, and you need to find a seat upstairs. Okay, there's additional seating upstairs in the balcony. Okay, we're ready to start, sir. Good to go.
Good afternoon. My apologies, that is the sergeant's remarks. Good afternoon and welcome to the stated meeting of August 13, 2026. I am Majority Leader Sean Abreu and I'd like to thank you for joining us. If you would like to follow along, the agenda for today's meeting is posted on our website. On behalf of the body, I welcome the members of the public who have joined us today. As a reminder, proper decorum must be maintained at all times. During stated meetings, only members of the council may speak. Members of the public shall remain silent. If you wish to express your support for any remarks, you may use this silent approval gesture. Thank you.
Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Roll call.
Aldebol.
Here.
Ariola. Aviles. Banks.
Here.
Brewer. Brooks Powers.
Present.
Caban.
Present.
De La Rosa.
Here.
Dinowitz. Encarnacion.
Presente.
Epstein. Farias.
Present.
Felder. Here. Feliz.
Presente.
Gennaro. Gutierrez.
Presente.
Hanif. Hankerson. Hanks.
Present.
Hudson.
Present.
Joseph. Krishnan,
Here.
Lee, Epstein,
Here.
Lewis, Maloney,
Present.
Marte,
Present.
Mealy, Morano,
Here.
Narcisse,
Here.
Nurse,
Here.
Osei, Palladino, Wrestler,
Here.
Riley,
Present.
Salam,
Present.
Justin Sanchez,
Present.
Pierina Sanchez,
Aquí.
Santos Suoso, Hanif, Gennaro, Shulman,
Here.
Stevens,
Still here.
Thomas Henry,
Present.
Ung,
Present.
Vernikoff,
Here.
Williams,
Present.
Wilson,
Present.
One, Wang,
Here.
Zhuang,
Here.
Carr,
Present.
Abreu,
Present.
Speaker Menon.
Present.
Thank you. We will now have today's invocation, which will be delivered by Father Eric Cruz of the Church of St. Anselm and St. Roch, which is located at 685 Tinton Avenue in the Bronx.
Good afternoon. You inspired centuries ago the great words inscribed on the Statue of Liberty in this harbor. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. Almighty God of Jesus Christ, Abraham, and Muhammad, you have woven together men and women of various gifts and talents into a rich tapestry of cultures, languages, creeds, and experiences. A living tapestry that gathers beneath this dome in this hall of justice to exercise a sacred calling, public service. They carry the weight of the hopes and aspirations, as well as the needs, concerns, and challenges of every person in this city. While the task is great, not greater than the grace and power of your Holy Spirit, the spirit of love, compassion, wisdom that will occupy this space and inspire our hearts to walk in your way, the way of justice and peace. Bless these members of the City Council. Open their eyes and our hearts to see ourselves as one of the least, a homeless grandmother, a jobless father, an abused migrant, a child thirsting for food, medication, and love. Give these members the strength and fortitude to oppose the vast forces of division and oppression. Grant courage and conviction to protect, save, and welcome innocent lives from far distant shores that have traveled a trail of tears seeking new life. Grant your mercy and compassion, your guidance as they discuss, create, and strive to pass bills and laws that direct and govern our very lives. To feed the hungry, grant shelter to the homeless, and certainly foster humanity and dignity to those in dire need. These members, your children, in accepting this great task are not in service to themselves, they are in service to truth, justice, and true charity. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. Lord, you remind us that we are our brothers' keeper, our sisters' keeper. You remind us of a higher calling, and most particular to the City Council, the calling of public service. Service that they're pleased and willing to accept, raising the honor and dignity of every person in this city, to continue to become and be a light of hope and dreams and new life. Amen.
Thank you. I would now ask Councilmember Elsie Encarnacion to spread the invocation on the record.
Thank you, Majority Leader. I've had the privilege of knowing Father Eric Cruz through his work across the Bronx, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to recognize him today following that powerful invocation. Father Cruz has spent his ministry serving the South Bronx. From his early work at Bronx Lebanon Hospital to his pastoral leadership at parishes across our borough. Today, as pastor of St. Anselm and Rock in Mount Haven, Father Cruz continues that tradition of service, and we've seen and felt the impact of your work firsthand in District 8. The new St. Anselm apartments on Tinton Avenue have brought hundreds of affordable homes to our community, along with on-site supportive services like case management, legal and medical referrals, counseling, and employment assistance. That kind of housing is especially important in a borough where affordable rent is scarce and where too many of our neighbors with disabilities or histories of homelessness are left without a safe place to land. And what makes this project so meaningful is how it came together. Catholic Charities, the Archdiocese, and Father Cruz saw an opportunity to turn a parking lot into a home for our neighbors, and you did it. While this is a powerful example of what is possible when faith-based organizations, government, and our communities come together around a shared commitment to housing and dignity, this is exactly the kind of innovative, faith-rooted partnership that the South Bronx needs. I would like to thank you, Father Eric Cruz, for being here today, and I want to make a motion for unanimous consent to spread the invocation in full upon the record.
Thank you, Councilmember. We will now ask Councilmember Althea Stevens for the adoption of minutes.
I make a motion that the minutes of the stated meeting of June 30th, 2026 and July 16th, 2026 be adopted as printed.
Messages and papers from the mayor.
M87 through M89, mayoral appointments.
Refer to rules.
Communication from city, county, and borough offices.
M90, city clerk transmittal.
Received, ordered, printed, and filed.
Petitions and communications.
None.
Land use call-ups.
None.
Thank you. We will now have communication from Speaker Julie Menon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Happy August. It has been not a slow August, a very busy August. And I want to start off with some absolutely incredible news. Our amazing City Council employee, Rafael Rubio, has been granted permanent asylum. This is such an incredible victory. We were involved with his case since he was wrongfully detained by ICE back in January, And just knowing now that he finally has permanent asylum is really, really incredible. He can finally breathe a sigh of relief knowing that he can continue to live and work right here where he belongs. So I do just want to say that the fight for him ended in justice, but he was wrongfully detained. He was put in solitary confinement for 2 weeks during that detainment. I really want to commend Raphael. He has such an incredible spirit. He was positive throughout this ordeal he went through, and we couldn't be happier that he is home. I do want to say that for many other New Yorkers, they are not getting the same outcome that Raphael did, and that is why we will continue to fight for them. That is why we fought so hard to have close to $82 million allocated in the budget for immigration legal services to support them. Last week, the Trump administration announced that they would be ending temporary protected status for Haitian immigrants, stripping them of work permits and leaving them vulnerable to deportation. This is a tremendous injustice, not only for those whose livelihoods are in limbo, for their family members, and for our entire city who relies on their countless contributions. I want to say that the Council stands in solidarity with Council members Mercedes Narcisse, Council member Rita Joseph, Council member Farah Lewis, and Council member Chi Osei, who represent our Haitian New York community and who are mobilizing to assist our Haitian neighbors through legal access and Know Your Rights campaigns, as is this City Council. The administration is also abandoning our most vulnerable immigrants, our children, having let federal funding for legal aid expire at the end of July. But New York will not sit idly by. Yesterday, Governor Hochul announced that the state will provide more than $7 million to legal aid services supporting unaccompanied minors, and I applaud her for the action that she's taken. Every person has a right to representation, and including and particularly a child without their parents. And it's unconscionable to think otherwise. The government's commitment also bolsters the Council's funding that supports various legal agencies that work with immigrants. So from City Hall to Albany, New York continues to stand by our immigrant neighbors, and we are always a resource for all people in need. Another avenue, on a different note, that we are pursuing to protect New Yorkers revolves around predatory marketing practices. After months of examining allegations of these practices across prediction market industry, I sent letters to 4 platforms, Kalshi, Polymarket, Coinbase, and Gemini, notifying them that the Council is beginning an investigation against them. For any of you that have been on these sites, you can see, and this is what we are alleging, that there are predatory marketing practices that are really focused on minors and luring them in to the gambling that is occurring on these platforms. So the next generation of New Yorkers is increasingly targeted by the prediction market industry's aggressive advertising tactics. Our letter has 60 questions for these 4 companies, and our goal is to determine whether additional laws, funding, or programs are needed to protect them if the allegations indeed prove to be true. And I will just say, as a mother, that what they're doing is concerning, and as a former commissioner of the Department of Consumer Affairs, this is something that I think is a really important consumer protection issue that we need to take very seriously. Not only do we have the ability, but I would argue we have an obligation to harness the full weight of this City Council to protect minors from practices that appear to be aimed at them. Shifting gears towards today's legislation, and perhaps on a slightly lighter note, we are so excited to pass the SCOOP Act today. This package of bills will expand access to dog waste bags, launch a pilot program to compost waste collected from dog runs, establish a public education campaign, and strengthen our enforcement of these rules. This is about creating safer and cleaner streets and parks for residents and furry friends alike. So whether or not you own a dog, one quality of life issue that affects all New Yorkers is, of course, affordability. And one factor driving this crisis is rising insurance costs that are some of the highest in the country. Homeowners insurance in New York has been increasing by 26% annually. Liability insurance across all industries in New York has been increasing by 10% annually. If you're a small business in New York, you will be paying 4 to 5 times the national average on liability insurance. If you own a car in New York, auto insurance for New Yorkers is around 52% higher than in other states. These costs pose enormous burdens on New Yorkers, but small businesses in particular. And for many small businesses are forced to raise their prices or go out of business because of the high cost of insurance. It's no wonder that our city lost 8,000 businesses in the second quarter of 2025 alone. Our office will investigate why insurance prices are so high so that we can take steps to lower them. We'll engage insurers, stakeholders, and regulators so we know exactly what actions we need to take moving forward. We are determined to create a livable city for all, and that means an affordable city for all as well. As summer comes to close, I'm sure the last thing we want on our minds is the winter months, but let's face it, restaurant owners are always looking ahead, and we in the City Council are looking out for them too. We are passing today a package of bills on outdoor dining, which would allow sidewalk cafes to operate 365 days a year, and for many restaurants, that ability to serve customers outside all year round would provide vital revenue. As a former restaurant owner myself, I know that every single dollar counts, especially in the midst of an affordability crisis. At the same time, we want to balance what the comments and concerns we've heard from communities across our city to ensure that any kind of sidewalk cafe or roadway dining is kept free of debris, of trash, of rats. And so a number of bills in this package really address some of those sanitation issues as well, and I think this really strikes a proper balance. So speaking of happiness and lighter notes, I want to wish a very happy birthday to Councilmember Ty Hankerson, who turned, I just want to say this, he turned 32. Unbelievable. And a happy early birthday to Minority Leader David Carr, who celebrates on the 28th. Councilmember Ina Vernikoff on the 30th. And Councilmember Darlene Mealy on the 31st. Okay. So throughout the month of August, we have many important holidays and events to recognize. August is National Black Business Month. Black New Yorkers own and operate so many important businesses across our city, but they still face long-standing inequities. I'm proud of the work that the council has done to cut red tape for business owners so that everyone can afford to live here, stay here, and achieve the American dream. August 26th is Women's Equality Day, commemorating the anniversary of women's suffrage being added to our Constitution 106 years ago. I'm thankful for the advocacy of former New York Congresswoman Bella Abzug, who put this day on the calendar, and countless other women who paved the way for generations of women to come. As a women majority council, we benefit from their efforts each and every day. There's a lot of Independence Days to celebrate, so I'm going to be announcing a few of them. August 6th was Jamaican Independence Day. August 10th was Ecuadorian Independence Day. Tomorrow is Pakistani Independence Day. Saturday is Indian Independence Day. August 24th is Ukrainian Independence Day. And August 31st is the Independence Day of Trinidad and Tobago. And finally, I really want to shout out our parliamentarian, Jeff Campagna, who is sadly leaving the council. And we really just want to thank you for all of your incredible contributions, your professionalism, your dedication, and we wish you well on this next chapter and journey. Thank you, Jeff. And now we're going to move on to our stated agenda. We have a long agenda, everyone, so just bear with me here. First, we're going to vote on the following land use items. 50-20, 108th Street rezoning will facilitate the development of 2 new mixed-use buildings with 196 dwelling units, 51 of which will be permanently affordable under MIH Option 1 in Councilmember Thomas Henry's district. The council is modifying this application to strike MIH Option 2 and to reduce the rezoning area to preserve existing small homes that are not within the proposed development. 6302 Fresh Pond Road rezoning will enable the development of a new 7-story mixed-use building with 54 dwelling units, 13 of which will be permanently affordable under MIH Option 1 in Councilmember Wong's district. The council is modifying this application to strike MIH Option 2. Queens CD2 Walk to Park site selection will facilitate the site selection and potential acquisition of 31 privately owned properties by the Department of Parks in collaboration with the Department of Citywide Administrative Services as part of a citywide plan to support a more equitable distribution of open space. These acquisitions will facilitate the creation of new parkland in the districts of Council Members Krishnan and Wan. Flatiron Nomad major concessions will improve the expansion of the existing Flatiron District concession area boundaries in the districts of Council Members Wilson and Epstein. We will also be voting on the following finance items: a transparency resolution approving new designations and changes of certain organizations receiving funding in the expense budget. A preconsidered introduction sponsored by Council Member Linda Lee will require the Department of Finance Commissioner to establish a temporary program to resolve outstanding ECB judgment penalties. Today, we'll also vote on the following pieces of legislation. Resolution 218, sponsored by Councilmember Crystal Hudson, would declare August 2nd annually as James Baldwin Day in the City of New York to honor his legacy as a groundbreaking essayist, novelist, playwright, poet, and civil rights activist who fought racial and sexual discrimination with candor, sensitivity, and lasting influence. Thank you to our staff, Y.M. Diori and Jessica Boulay. Introduction 839A, sponsored by Councilmember Pierina Sanchez, would make the certification of no harassment pilot program permanent with a new program list published by the Department of Housing, Preservation, and Development every 3 years beginning on April 15th, 2027. Thank you to Elliot Heisler, Austin Malone, Dirk Spencer, William Eck, and Jose Conde. Introduction 320A, sponsored by Councilmember Frank Morano, would codify into law the current flag of the Borough of Staten Island as its official flag. Thank you to Jahari Frazier and Erica Cohen. Resolution 395, sponsored also by Councilmember Frank Morano, would call on the New York State Legislature to pass and the Governor to sign S6356A4188, prohibiting increasing in rates of homeowners insurance in excess of 25%. Thank you to Natalie Meltzer. Resolution 389, sponsored by Councilmember Eric Dinowitz, will call on the New York State Legislature to pass and the Governor to sign the Automobile Insurance Consumer Information Act. Thank you to Natalie Meltzer. Resolution 387, sponsored by Councilmember Gail Brewer, will call on the New York State Legislature and to pass and the Governor to sign A07828A, S07939, A9015, and A9016A to mitigate the rising cost of property insurance for affordable housing. Thank you to Natalie Meltzer. Introduction 685B, sponsored by myself, would establish an Office of Insurance Accountability to support consumers navigating the insurance market and address the rising cost of insurance. Thank you to Sarah Swain and Natalie Meltzer. Introduction 872, sponsored by Councilmember Shahana Hanif, would require the Commissioner of DOHMH, in consultation with the Commissioner of Sanitation, to develop and conduct a public education and outreach campaign to inform the public about dog waste removal and the dangers of failing to remove dog waste. Thank you to Declan McPherson and Morgan Barrett. Introduction 864, sponsored by Councilmember Epstein, would require the Commissioner of Parks to establish a pilot program to collect dog waste from dog runs under the Department of Parks jurisdiction for composting. Thank you to Chris Sartori. Introduction 880, sponsored by Councilmember Narcisse, would require signage at the entrances and exits of parks and at certain park facilities, stating the rule prohibiting a person from leaving dog waste on the ground and the associated penalties for violation. Thank you to Chris Sartori. Introduction 857A would require the Department of Sanitation to install and regularly fill dog waste bag dispensers on or next to no less than 1,200 public litter baskets on city streets. Thank you to Morgan Barrett. Introduction 935A, sponsored by Councilmember Feliz, would require the NYPD to report on the number of confirmed firearm discharges in the city on a quarterly basis. The NYPD would be required to report the date, time, and location of each firearm discharge, as well as a description of the circumstances surrounding the discharge. Thank you to Josh Kingsley and Chad Benjamin. Introduction 655A, sponsored by Councilmember Lincoln Ressler, would expand the city's outdoor dining program by removing seasonal restrictions on roadway cafe operation. This bill would also allow the use of weatherproofing and winterizing materials to facilitate the operation of a roadway cafe year-round. Thank you to Rachel Codrera, Sarah Swain, and Natalie Meltzer. Introduction 895A, sponsored by Councilmember Gail Brewer, would allow sidewalk cafe operators to enclose their year-round sidewalk cafes annually from November 30th to March 31st. This bill also permits weather protection materials that may be used at other times during the year. Thank you to Rachel Codrera, Sarah Swain, and Natalie Meltzer. Introduction 917A, sponsored by Councilmember Justin Sanchez, would require roadway and sidewalk cafe operators to ensure that their outdoor setups are clear of trash, debris, graffiti, vermin, food scraps, and unsanitary conditions. Operators who violate this provision will be subject to civil penalties. Thank you to Rachel Codrera, Sarah Swain, and Natalie Meltzer. And then finally, last but certainly not least, Introduction 918A, sponsored by Councilmember Chanel Thomas Henry, would allow sidewalk and roadway cafe operators to pay their annual revocable consent fees in quarterly installments to reduce their upfront costs. Thank you to Rachel Codrera, Sarah Swain, and Natalie Meltzer. So thank you for your attention. I'm going to turn it back to our Majority Leader.
Thank you, Speaker Menon. I want to remind folks that because we are voting on transparency resolutions, would it be great if before the vote you can make your disclosure. We will now move into discussion of general orders, beginning with Councilmember Carl Wilson, followed by Epstein.
Thank you. Since its genesis 20 years ago, the Flatiron Nomad Partnership has been an excellent steward of the area, now extending from the Flatiron to all of Nomad and 20th Street and 6th Avenue. The Broadway corridor, one of the most high-traffic areas of the city, grew exponentially in a post-pandemic world as demand for outdoor dining, public space activation, and pedestrianized streets amplified. Flatiron Nomad met and exceeded all expectations of what it could do for the neighborhood. So I hope my colleagues will join me today in supporting the Flatiron Nomad's promising next chapter with this major concession agreement. This agreement will significantly expand the ways the bid can generate revenue that will lead to more beautiful public spaces, expanded cleaning services for the district, and additional smart compost bins. It also unlocks the future potential for the installation of public bathrooms and water fountains. I'm eager to see the ways this agreement transforms our neighborhood for the better. I really want to thank Councilmember Harvey Epstein for his partnership and for taking the lead in getting this process started while the council seat in District 3 was vacant. And thank you to the bid for all they do to keep our communities beautiful, safe, and prosperous. And a big thank you to DOT and DSMY for their collaboration and willingness to think constructively about how we can maximize our ability to invest in our public spaces. And I also want to shout out the council land use team who was critical during this whole process, Omar, Chelsea, Arthur, Ann, and Dana, and especially Dana for supporting this effort, and to my chief of staff, Hannah Moses, as well as the rest of my team for their hard work. It's my hope that the partnership can continue its work preserving and beautifying the landscape along Broadway and beyond, and that we can be a meaningful companion in that endeavor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Epstein, followed by Thomas Henry.
Thank you. I also want to thank Councilmember Wilson for his friendship and partnership during this major concession. I think probably on day 2 when he started, we was like Carl, we have to deal with this, so we'll deal with it quickly. And really, the planning and land use staff and the Flatiron Nomad partnership was amazing. Our staff, Dana and Chelsea, really helped us get through this process. And a major concession agreement is really to make sure that the Broadway space is managed by this bid, but also talks about things that we care deeply about sustainability, public access to space, securing commitments for water fountains, public restrooms, compostable bins, and waste removal. This is like a comprehensive plan that I'm really proud of. I also want to thank the speaker for the SCOOP Act. This issue came up early in her term. I saw what was happening during the winter and then all the dog waste, and she jumped right on it. We created a package, allowed the Animal Caucus to take some leadership in this, and the bill that I'm talking about around composting dog waste is both an environmental issue and a cleanliness issue, and I think this all across the board is really, really palatable for the future of New York and a plan that we can really be proud of. And finally, I know we're talking about some budget allocations. I don't have conflicts, but I really want to thank the council for allocating what we did in the budget on pet food pantries. We're making some of those allocations today. I think that's going to help the affordability crisis we're seeing in New York. I know we keep talking about affordability, and I know the leadership of the speaker and this council, we're actually acting on those issues and are moving those issues forward today. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Thomas Henry, followed by Pierina Sanchez.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Our communities are changing, and as New York continues to grow, we have to be intentional about making sure the people and businesses that gave our neighborhoods their identity can afford to be part of what comes next. Because when you think about small businesses in New York, you think about the restaurant owner who takes a family recipe and turns it into a neighborhood favorite. The immigrant entrepreneur who opens a storefront and creates a piece of home 1,000 miles away. Or the New Yorker who saves every dollar they can, takes a chance on themselves, signs a lease, turns on the lights, and says, I'm going to make this work. That is the culture of entrepreneurship in New York. Before I ever sat in this chamber, I was a small business owner. So I know there is nothing small about running a business in New York City. It takes courage to bet on yourself. It takes grit to open those doors every morning, make payroll, pay the rent, navigate regulations, serve your customers, and take care of your family, and somehow wake up the next morning ready to do it all again. So when government has an opportunity to make that journey a little easier, we should. Today, I am incredibly proud that the Council will vote on Intro 918, my first bill to pass this body. The bill is simple. Instead of requiring restaurants participating in outdoor dining to pay revocable consent fees all at once, they will have the flexibility to pay quarterly, because the difference between one enormous bill and manageable payments throughout the year matters, and this is bigger than outdoor dining. It is about asking ourselves, who gets to stay, who gets to build, and who gets to be a part of the future of New York City? Affordability isn't only about what it costs to live here, it is about what it costs to build a life, build a business, and chase a dream here. Our entrepreneurs make New York the New York we love. The least we can do is meet them where they are and make it a little easier for them to build their dreams here. I'm proud that today, this council is doing exactly that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Pierina Sanchez, followed by Ressler.
Thank you, Majority Leader, and thank you to my 30 colleagues who have co-sponsored the certification of no harassment bill today. Every tenant in New York City deserves to live free from harassment, regardless of their citizenship status. Yet we are in a moment where the federal government is targeting immigrant communities, and we must ensure that all of our neighbors receive the strongest possible protections in their homes. Today, the Council will vote on 839A, legislation that will bring the certification of no harassment program. It will make it permanent and stronger. CONH was first created in 2018 to deter owners from using construction to harass and displace tenants from their homes. After 2 successful pilots, CONH has proven itself to be useful for identifying high-risk buildings and deterring bad behavior. Today, we build on that success and codify CONH as a permanent tool in the city by doing 3 things. First, responding to rising reports of landlords threatening to call ICE on their tenants by expanding the definition of harassment. Second, monitoring problematic portfolios by reviewing all buildings that have the same owner as those with finding of harassment. And third, create a stronger incentive to clear violations, allowing buildings to exit the program only if owners significantly improve living conditions for their tenants. Finally, this bill will clarify that the basic maintenance continues to be allowed without delay for any building in the program, which has been a point of misinformation during this debate. And to close, I just want to thank my team, the Coalition of Advocates who made this possible, and the agencies, but just very particularly want to thank our Deputy Chief of Staff, Ben Ratner, and our Legislative Fellow, Dylan Campos, who really took this on as their legislative baby, as I keep saying, and really made this happen. So thank you, congratulations. And holler back at my team who's in the back. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Ressler, followed by Narcisse.
Thank you, Majority Leader. It was about 3 years ago that the Adams-era reforms to outdoor dining were approved, and it nearly broke the outdoor dining program. It led to a 90% decline in restaurants offering outdoor dining across the 5 boroughs. And the number one reason that restaurants stopped offering outdoor dining is because we made it stupidly expensive. Stupidly expensive to have to construct, to deconstruct, and to store outdoor dining structures. For small neighborhood restaurants, it just didn't work. The most salient benefit, the greatest win in this legislation to restore year-round outdoor dining is that we anticipate thousands of additional restaurants are going to offer outdoor dining across all of our communities, making this adding to the vibrancy and dynamism of our neighborhoods, creating jobs. On average, whenever a restaurant adds outdoor dining, it creates a new job. So we have the potential of making a significant impact on our local economy. We've also incorporated some design enhancements that allow for vertical elements and overhead structures during inclement weather and winter to make it more pleasant to eat outside. We've modified the timing that outdoor dining structures can operate, allowing them to operate a little earlier in the morning for coffee, coffee establishments, and we've asked them to close earlier in the evening, so they have to shutter their doors by 11 o'clock and send people inside. There's also real accountability metrics in this legislation. If you were issued the same violation 3 times in a 2-year period, then a restaurant's outdoor dining license is revoked, which is appropriate. I do recognize that the seasonal program has made enormous strides in improving the cleanliness of outdoor dining. Last year, there were just 11 311 complaints for outdoor dining relating to garbage, rats, the like. This is a really good win, and I'm really grateful for Speaker Menon championing this, and I just want to thank Jonathan from her team,
Thank you, Councilmember.
Rachel, Sarah Swain, and my Chief of Staff, Molly, and lots of others. Thank you very much.
Councilmember Narcisse, followed by Brewer.
Thank you, Majority Leader. And then, Jeff, wherever God lands you, universe lands you, will be fine with your soft-spoken wording.
Off topic, Councilmember. My apologies. Off topic. During general discussion.
What?
Please
you give me my time?
Please state the general orders calendar. We appreciate the love for Jeff.
Congratulations.
I understand.
because he's going to be okay. He's going to be well. Anyway, before I get this, can I have my time reset? I want to take just a minute, even I get to the bill. Andre Lewis, rest in peace. That's all I can say. The father of Farrell Lewis. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Through all this that we've been going on in the park, we smell it, we see it, and we upset about it. In my park, we see it every day. The kids are, hanging out on the grass, families with strollers, and dog waste that somebody decided was not their problem. Park staff are out there cleaning it up early in the morning. So this bill, Intro 880, puts signs at park entrances and at playgrounds and other facilities inside the park in plain language that everyone can understand. Pick up your SHI after yourself. Pick up after your dog. Here's the fine if you don't. The rest of the package comes at the same problems from other angles. Most dogs owners already do the right thing. These bills are for the ones counting on nobody seeing them. We know we see you. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for moving forward with the Scoop Act. It is about time for people to know you got to clean after yourself. Pick up your what. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Brewer, followed by Morano.
I'm talking about the bill that has to do with sidewalk cafes that can now be able to put out a cover during the winter. It complements some of the other bills that are passing today. And the reason I think it's important is it would enable the restaurants to have more staff remain during the entire year. Number two, these restaurants already pay for their outdoor sidewalk cafes, and obviously if they're not using them, they're losing money. So it's the kind of bill I think that would have repercussions for all of the restaurant industry, and it gives clearer standards than than has been in the past. So I do want to thank Andrew Ridgey from the New York City Hospitality Alliance, and certainly Rachel Cordero and Sarah Swain from the speaker staff, and from my office, Schuler Pooter. This is a practical seasonal option that they can now, between November 30th and March 31, have the kind of cover that you might see around some of the front doors when restaurants and grocery stores cover up that door so that it's not a cold entrance when the public is coming and going. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Morano, and if there's anyone else signed up for general orders, please let me know.
Thank you, Majority Leader. I rise today with a great deal of pride in support of Introduction 320, which will make the Staten Island flag officially codified into city law. Now, I know there are people who will say, it's just a flag. I respectfully disagree. For Staten Islanders, this is about something much larger. For too long, many people in my borough have felt that when decisions are made in this building at City Hall, Staten Island is somewhere off in the distance, and not just geographically. Today sends a different message. We see you. City government sees you. Your history matters, your identity matters, you matter, your borough matters, and I hope this is part of a new chapter in the relationship between Staten Island and city government. Today, we're getting our flag recognized, and tomorrow, hopefully, it's our transportation needs, our infrastructure, our public safety concerns, and all the other things Staten Islanders have been rightly yelling about for years. We're very grateful for the flag. We're not going to stop calling 311 with other complaints. I want to thank Speaker Julie Menin for her support, all of my colleagues in the council, and especially my partners in the Staten Island Council delegation, Majority Whip Camila Hanks, and my brother, Minority Leader David Carr. This was bipartisan because Staten Island Pride doesn't have a party registration. I want to recognize Emil Micah, whose beautiful design we've now made an official part of our city's history. This is the first bill I've prime-sponsored to pass this body, and I couldn't have been luckier, at least I hope it'll pass, that my first is a bill celebrating the borough I love and am so privileged to represent. Today, Staten Island isn't the forgotten borough. Today, Staten Island is seen. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Anyone else signed up for general orders I haven't called on yet? All right. Report of special committees.
None.
Report of standing committees.
Report of the Committee on Consumer and Worker Protection, Intro 685B, Office of Insurance Affordability.
Amended and coupled on general orders.
Report of the Committee on Finance, Preconsidered Intro 1002, Environmental Control Board Judgments.
Coupled on general orders.
Preconsidered Reso 595, Transparency Resolution.
Coupled.
Report of the Committee on Governmental Operations, State and Federal Legislation, Intro 320A, Flag of Staten Island.
Amended and coupled on general orders.
Report of the Committee on Housing and Buildings, Intro 839A, Certification of No Harassment Pilot Program.
Amended and coupled on general orders.
Report of the Committee on Land Use, LU 114 and Reso 611, Queen CD2, Walk to Park, Site Selection.
Coupled on general orders.
LUs 115, 116, 118, and 119, various applications.
Approved with modifications and referred to the City Planning Commission pursuant to Section 197D of the New York City Charter.
LU 117 and Reso 612, Flatiron Nomad Major Concessions.
Coupled on general orders.
Report of the Committee on Parks and Recreation, intros 864A and 880A, dog waste removal.
Amended and coupled on general orders.
Report of the Committee on Public Safety, intro 935A, firearm discharge reporting.
Amended and coupled on general orders.
Report of the Committee on Sanitation and Solid Waste Management, intros 857A and 872A, dog waste removal.
Amended and coupled on general orders.
Report of the Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure, intros 655A, 894A, 917A, and 918A, roadway and sidewalk cafes.
Amended and coupled on general orders.
Preconsidered resolutions 592 and 605, Environmental Quality Review Act.
Coupled on general orders.
On the general orders calendar, LU 96 and Reso 613 and LU 97 and Reso 614, 50-20 108th Street rezoning.
Coupled on general orders.
LU 104 and Reso 615 and LU 105 and Reso 616, 63-02 Fresh Pond Road rezoning.
Coupled.
Resolution appointing various persons, Commissioner of Deeds.
Coupled on general orders, I now ask the clerk to take a roll call vote on all the items coupled on today's general orders calendar.
Aldebol.
I want to disclose that my brother-in-law works for the Department for the Aging, and I vote aye on all.
Ariola. Aviles. Banks.
I want to disclose that my brother works for the New York City Parks Department. I don't know. Thank you.
Brewer.
I teach at CUNY, and I'm voting aye, except 864A, which I abstain because I don't know how it impacts parks workers and how they are interfacing with the dog feces and dog runs. Thank you.
Thank you. Brooks Powers.
Permission to explain my vote.
Permission granted.
I'd like to disclose that we are funding Larissa Jane Music Performing Arts Program, and my child is affiliated with the organization. With that, I vote aye on all.
Thank you. Caban.
Aye on all.
De La Rosa.
I'd like to disclose that my daughter attends New York City Public Schools that is funded in the Transparency Reso, and I vote aye on all.
Dinowitz.
I vote aye.
Encarnacion.
Aye on all.
Epstein.
Aye on all.
Farias.
I vote aye on all.
Thank you. Felder.
I vote yes, except on intro 655A and accompanying resolution 592. I vote no on 839H, 864A, and 894A and accompanying resolution 605.
Thank you. Feliz.
Permission to explain my vote.
Permission granted.
Proud of the many bills that we're voting today and passing, and I'm especially proud and thankful that we're passing my shots fired bill. Public safety is one of the most important duties of city government, and we must ensure that the crime-related data that we have provide a clear and accurate and full picture on the issue of crime in our city. And this is especially true on the issue of gun violence. Now, the NYPD, as we know, provides a lot of data related to gun violence, including shooting victims, also shooting incidents. But the data related to shooting incidents only includes data when someone is struck, which means that if there's a shooting and no one is struck, we don't have data on that. That data is important and helps us provide or get a clear picture of gun violence in our city. It also helps us track progress that we're making on the issue of gun violence. And it also helps us determine whether additional resources are needed in specific precincts and also specific neighborhoods. My bill will help us get that data by requiring that the NYPD collect and provide data on that, including data on shots fired incidents, including the date, location, borough, precinct, and the time. I just want to thank Speaker Menon for making this bill on the issue of public safety a top priority. I also want to thank my co-prime sponsor, Councilmember Joanna Ariola, for being a strong partner on this issue. Aye on all.
Gennaro.
Aye.
Gutierrez.
Aye.
Hanif.
Permission to explain my vote?
Permission granted.
Thank you. Today I speak in support of the SCOOP Act package and Intro 872A, my legislation to create a citywide multilingual education campaign on dog waste. First, I want to be clear, I love dogs. And because I love dogs and our city, I am proud to support the SCOOP Act. We all know New York City has a dog poop problem. We've seen it, smelled it, and unfortunately, many of us have stepped in it. But this is about more than an unpleasant sidewalk experience. Dog waste is a public health and environmental issue. Pet waste can pollute our waterways and carry harmful bacteria and parasites, including E. coli, salmonella, and roundworm. Most New Yorkers know they're supposed to pick up after their dogs, but not everyone understands why it matters or the broader consequences for our neighbors, our streets, and our environment when they don't. That's why Intro 872A focuses on education. It will make sure New Yorkers understand both their legal obligation to clean up after their pets and the public health and environmental reasons behind it. And importantly, that information will be available in multiple languages so we can reach dog owners across the entire city. The bill also makes sure we can measure whether our efforts are working. It requires an evaluation of the campaign's effectiveness and incorporates 311 data on dog waste complaints. That will give us real information to track progress and understand where additional education and outreach may be needed. Thank you, Speaker Menon, for her leadership and support, and my colleagues for advancing the SCOOP Act and the staff who worked with us to get Intro 872A to the floor today. I'm proud to vote yes, and I urge my colleagues to do the same. Thank you. And I vote yes.
Hankerson.
I vote aye on all.
Hanks.
Permission to explain my vote?
Permission granted.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Staten Islanders are proud of who we are, where we come from, and the borough we call home. I'm voting yes today to officially recognize and protect our borough flag as a symbol of that Staten Island pride. At the heart of Staten Island is a rich mix of communities, cultures, and traditions that continue to shape our shared identity. And I am proud to stand with my colleague, Councilmember Frank Morano, and Minority Leader Carr to make this recognition permanent and celebrate the borough that we are proud to call home. And with that, I vote aye on all.
Hudson.
Permission to explain my vote.
Permission granted.
I'm an aye on all, and just want to be associated with the remarks of Councilmember Brewer regarding Intro 857A, which I'm still an aye on because it's a pilot program, but just want to be associated with her remarks. Thank you.
Joseph. Krishnan.
Aye.
Lee. Lewis. Maloney.
Permission to explain my vote.
Permission granted.
Thank you, Majority Leader. First, I want to disclose that my mother is a teacher at CUNY. I want to congratulate Councilmember Thomas Henry for her first bill and her leadership on Intro 918A, which will help our small businesses, make it a little easier to manage costs, and thank Speaker Menon for her leadership on the SCOOP Act. And with that, I vote aye on all.
Marte.
I vote aye on all except Intro 655A.
Mealy. Morano.
Aye on all, with the exception of 894A, 839A, 864A, and Reso 595. On those, I vote no.
Thank you. Narcisse.
I vote aye and pick up after yourself in the box. Bye.
Nurse.
I vote aye.
Osei. Palladino. Wrestler.
I vote aye on all.
Riley.
I just want to state for the record that my children go to New York City Public Schools, and I don't know.
Councilmember Morano, you have an amendment?
Yes, I actually intended to vote yes on 894A and would love my vote to be recorded along those lines. Thank you.
Thank you. Salam.
Vote aye.
Justin Sanchez.
Aye on all with the exception of nothing.
Parina Sanchez.
I'd like to disclose upon the record that my sibling is associated with CUNY, BMCC, and with that I vote aye on all.
Santo Suoso.
Aye on all.
Thank you. Schulman.
Aye on all.
Stevens.
Aye on all.
Thomas Henry.
Aye on all.
Ong.
Aye on all.
Vernikov.
Aye on all with the exception of Intro 655A and accompanying Reso 592, 894A and accompanying Reso 605, Intros 839A and 864A, and Reso 595, in which I vote no.
Thank you. Williams.
I vote aye.
Wilson.
Aye on all.
1. Wong.
I vote yes on all except for introductions 655, 894, 839, 1002, and accompanying resolutions 592 and 605. Thank you.
Thank you. Zhuang.
Aye on all. I want to abstain on 839. For the record, my kids go to public school.
Thank you. Carr.
Permission to explain my vote?
Permission granted.
Thank you, Majority Leader. First, I want to begin by thanking the Speaker for those warm birthday messages. I'm going to endeavor to stay at 39 for at least 3 more years, but thank you. I also want to congratulate my colleague, Councilmember Frank Morano, on passing this important codification of Staten Island's flag. The 3 of us, Camila, Frank, and I, do battle on behalf of our borough each and every day, along with our other Staten Island colleagues, and now having a common unifying banner under which to do so is incredibly meaningful, as he indicated during his remarks. But I'm here today mostly to speak about my opposition to the extension of the roadway dining legislation. And my opposition is based on the same reason I voted against it several years ago, back in 2023, when we regularized the post-pandemic program. And that's because it does not have the call-up option that we, at least for the moment, currently have for the Sidewalk Cafe program. To me, having a member-driven process where community and contextual judgments can be taken into account ensures that all roadway dining cafe applications moving forward would be ones that fit in with the community and ensures that members have leverage in the engagement with the Department of Transportation and the executive branch to make sure that local opinion is not being ignored. Unfortunately, we weren't able to include it in that legislation several years ago, and that's not changing anytime soon because it would be subject to a referendum requirement. So in that vein, I'll be opposing this legislation today because the only real decision maker remains the New York City Department of Transportation. And quite frankly, over the last several years, the last several administrations, the DOT's approach to community engagement and stakeholder engagement exudes a snobbish elitism that frankly makes the most exclusive country club board of directors look humble. So I will be opposing this legislation today, and I want to disclose on the record of the proceeding that in the transparency resolution before us today, we're funding the Jewish Community Center of Staten Island, and I'm associated with that entity, and I'll be voting no on introductions 655A, with accompanying resolution 592, introduction 894A with accompanying resolution 605, introduction 839A, introduction 864A, and resolution 595, and aye on the rest. Thank you.
Abreu.
Aye.
Where's 592? Speaker Minute.
Aye on all.
Just give us 1 minute as we tally the votes. All items on today's general order calendar are adopted by a 4-2 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 0 abstentions, with the exception of Intro 864A, which was adopted by a vote of 37 in the affirmative, 4 in the negative, and 1 abstention, and Intro 655A, which was adopted by a vote of 37 in the affirmative, 5 in the negative, and 0 abstentions, Intro 839A, which was adopted by a vote of 36 in the affirmative, 5 in the negative, and 1 abstention, and Intro 894A, which was adopted by a vote of 38 in the affirmative, 4 in the negative, and 0 abstentions, and Intro 1002, which was adopted by a vote of 41 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative, and 0 abstentions, and Reso 592 and 605, which was adopted by a vote of 38 in the affirmative, 4 in the negative, and 0 abstentions, and Reso 595, which was adopted by a vote of 39 in the affirmative, 3 in the negative, and 0 abstentions. Introduction and reading of bills.
All bills have been referred to committee as indicated on today's agenda.
Thank you. We'll now move into discussion of resolutions, beginning with Councilmember Hudson, followed by Dinowitz.
Thank you so much. Today we're honoring a New Yorker whose words changed the way this country understood itself and challenged us to become something better. James Baldwin was born in Harlem 102 years ago. Throughout his life, he never stopped asking this country to live up to its promises of freedom. He wrote with extraordinary honesty about race, sexuality, love, faith, and what it means to find your place in a country that so often tells you you do not belong. Baldwin's legacy is extraordinary not only because of what he wrote, but because of how fearlessly he lived and spoke his truth. As a black gay man in a country that routinely denied both his racial and sexual identity, Baldwin refused to make himself smaller to fit within the limits society placed on him. He understood that telling the truth, especially when that truth makes people uncomfortable, can itself be an act of resistance. He once wrote, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced." That idea is at the heart of Baldwin's work. His belief in our capacity to change is part of what makes Baldwin's legacy so revolutionary. Nearly 4 decades after his death, his words still resonate. They still challenge us to confront injustice and question
Please wrap
systems
up.
around us. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Dinowitz, followed by Morano.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Today we're voting on Resolutions 389, calling upon the New York State to pass Senate Bill 1196, known as the Automobile Consumer Information Act. The cost of automobile insurance has increased by nearly 35% between 2022 and 2025 nationwide. And in 2025, New York City residents paid an average annual premium of $4,223, a significant burden for hardworking New Yorkers. It is nearly twice the national average. Now, the New York State Department of Financial Services regulates automobile insurance. However, no New York State official or office is charged exclusively representing consumer interests, and rate information is opaque. This bill would authorize, would require DFS to publish automobile insurance premium and complaint information, and establish an Office of Insurance Consumer Advocate to represent consumers' interests before DSF. A number of New Yorkers rely on their
Please
cars.
wrap up.
I urge my colleagues to vote a yes on this resolution. Thank you.
Councilmember Morano, followed by Brewer.
Thank you, Majority Leader. I rise today with a great deal of pride in Resolution 395. This is the first resolution of mine that I hope will pass the New York City Council, and I really couldn't be prouder that it's one aimed squarely at helping homeowners and making this city a little bit more affordable. Wherever we fall on the political spectrum, affordability is a key word, and I want to thank the Speaker for her leadership and support, and the committee for advancing this resolution, and the entire council for supporting it. Since 2020, New York homeowners have seen average insurance premiums rise by more than $1,000. Nearly 500,000 New York homeowners are completely uninsured, and that's an affordability crisis hiding in plain sight. And this resolution simply urges Albany to pass a bill which would prohibit homeowners' insurance rates increasing more than 25% in a single year, except when otherwise agreed to in the policy. Let's put that in perspective. 25% is still a pretty generous definition of relief. If Con Ed announced a 25% increase tomorrow, we'd probably have 3 hearings and a press conference a day. Thank you for your support.
You got it. Councilmember Brewer.
Just wanted to know James Baldwin's brother was a bartender at Michelle's on 97th and Columbus, and I saw him there many, many nights, just to give you a little history. Resolution 387 urges the state to address the growing cost of property insurance, which is putting additional financial pressure on affordable housing providers across the state. This resolution supports state legislation to improve transparency, study what's driving these increases, and establishes an insurance relief fund, most importantly, to help preserve affordable housing. These housing providers cannot continue absorbing steep insurance increases without consequences. Stabilizing these costs is an important part of preserving affordable homes for New Yorkers. I hope it passes in Albany and here in the City Council. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now have a voice vote on today's resolutions. If you wish to vote against or abstain from any of today's resolutions, please notify the Legislative Documents Unit by email or by approaching the dais. I'll now read today's resolutions into the record. Resolution 218 declares August 2nd annually as James Baldwin Day in the City of New York to honor his legacy as a groundbreaking essayist, novelist, playwright, poet, and civil rights activist who fought racial and sexual discrimination with candor, sensitivity, and lasting influence. All those in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The ayes have it. Resolution 387 calls on the New York State Legislature to pass and the governor to sign Assembly Bill numbers 7828A, 9015, 9016A, as well as Senate Bill number 7939 to mitigate the rising cost of property insurance for affordable housing. All those in favor say aye. All opposed say nay.
Aye.
Any abstentions? The ayes have it. Resolution 389A calls on the New York State Legislature to pass and the governor to sign Senate Bill 1196 and Assembly Bill number 3893, also known as the Automobile Insurance Consumer Information Act. All those in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The ayes have it. Resolution 395 calls on the New York State Legislature to pass and the governor to sign Senate Bill 6356 and Assembly Bill 4188, prohibiting increases in rates of homeowners insurance in excess of 25% per year. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The ayes have it. We will now move into general discussion. A reminder is 2 minutes. We have about 15 to 20 colleagues signed up to speak. All right. We're beginning with Councilmember Thomas Henry, followed by Maloney.
Thank you, Majority Leader. I would just like to recognize and thank my interns for this summer, Nancy Munoz, Candace Charles, Elijah Anderson, and LaTroy Glenn. Thank you for your invaluable contribution to the team over the summer. Wishing you much success and safe travels back to school. Thanks.
Councilmember Maloney, followed by Wilson.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Today I'm introducing 3 bills focused on protecting the health and safety of New Yorkers. Following the Legionnaires' outbreak that impacted my district and claimed 7 lives, I'm introducing legislation to strengthen cooling tower cleaning requirements to 3 times a year, with one of those cleanings required in June or July, when we know the city regularly experiences temperatures of 90 degrees or higher, and the risk is highest. Second, requiring the Department of Health to issue public service announcements during Legionnaires' outbreaks similar to those we had during COVID, so New Yorkers have clear information and about symptoms, prevention, and treatment. And lastly, around e-bikes. E-bike accidents are up 28% compared to last year. We need to act now to protect pedestrians, cyclists, and drivers, and I look forward to the Council's hearing in September, and I'm glad to be part of that legislative package to improve prevention, awareness, and public safety across our city. And lastly, as our summer comes to a close, I want to recognize the Team Maloney interns, including some of those who are here today. Adil Zaidi, Charlie Branch, Joey Griffiths, Jamie Bonzilla-Meza, Avery Dimming, Taylor Galloway, Tally Benari, Lola Gimbel, Nora Ripberger, and Bella Nevins. They're observing today, and I just want to thank them for their hard work, enthusiasm, and commitment to public service. Thank you.
Councilmember Wilson, followed by Hanif.
Thank you, Majority Leader. I'm honored to introduce, in collaboration with Public Advocate Jumaane Williams, a resolution calling on the New York State Legislature to pass and the Governor to sign Daniels Law. Daniels Law would ensure that every locality in our state has a plan and resources in place for responding to mental health-related emergencies in a sensitive, constructive manner informed by modern advances in and understandings of mental health care. When worried families seek support for a loved one undergoing a mental health crisis, they hope that person will be treated with care and dignity. Unfortunately, too often, the tragedy deepens from there. According to the Mayor's Office of Community Mental Health, in the past 8 years, NYPD officers have fatally shot at least 20 individuals experiencing a mental health crisis. There has to be a better, more humane way to respond to our loved ones in crisis. Daniels Law will ensure compassionate crisis response in every community, as well as a focus on preventative mental health care. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Hanif, followed by Narcisse.
Thank you. I want to express gratitude for the many everyday New Yorkers who have dedicated themselves to the people of District 39 in our office. We said goodbye to Jackie Neitschmidt this summer, who starts at the Craig Newmark School of Journalism at CUNY this fall. This is also the last dated where we are joined by our brilliant legislative fellow, Anisha Uppal-Sullivan. Anisha has gone above and beyond in her role, stepping in to cover critical work in our office. She is joining us full-time to support participatory budgeting and constituent services. Emmett Tiran, former Progressive Caucus Executive Director, has also joined my team and will serve as Senior Advisor on legislative and budgetary matters. Lastly, thank you to our passionate and curious summer interns who joined our team and supported us over the past few months. Sada Afroz, Ronan Shatsky, So Tun, Ezra McNally were incredibly helpful to our team and covered everything from constituent services, land use, creating social media content, to naming bills. Thank you for choosing public service and contributing your talents to the city and its great people, and good luck on your next chapter. Thank you.
Councilmember Narcisse, followed by Morano.
Thank you, Majority. Today, I just want to let everyone know that what's going on with the Haitian community. Please don't ignore what's going on right now, because the world turned and things happen. The Haitian community, all I can say for them to stay strong. I'm not worried about them really to be strong because they've been through it. They have seen it, they read the books. But for all my colleagues, everyone that support the Haitian community, so please know that they are going to a tough time in the city of New York. And I have to start by saying thank you to Madam Speaker and of course the mayor that's talking about it. Understand that we cannot ignore what's going on around us. And there is one hope that's staying still, that open our head that we can do something about it, is S-4814. That's in the Senate right now. The House did their part. So I want to know from our perspective how the best way we can help the community that's suffering. They are suffering for real right in our backyard as well. And I'm going to continue saying thank you to everyone that understand what's going on when it comes to folks in the United States of America. Sometimes it's not only for the immigration reform. Let me tell you honestly, yes, you can do it, but those folks were here legally, they were invited. Yes, I'm hearing a lot of people say, oh, well, it's supposed to be temporarily, but honestly, there's a lot of things in our lives that are temporary, that's supposed to be temporarily, but still with us, including all the advantages that we're taking from social and Medicare and all of that. So having said that, we cannot ignore folks that's suffering, children that's separating from their families. That's gonna hang over our head for decades to come. So we have to be part of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Morano, followed by Hanks.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Today, I'm proud to introduce two bills as we approach the 25th anniversary of September 11th. 25 years is a long time, and there are New Yorkers today who know September 11th only as history, but for thousands of first responders, recovery workers, survivors, and their families, it's not history. They're still living with the consequences. So my first bill requires the Health Department to strengthen outreach about the programs available to those harmed by the attacks and their aftermath, and creates a voluntary email and text notification system for information about benefits, eligibility, and important deadlines, because a benefit only helps someone if they know it exists. My second bill establishes an annual 9/11 week of service. We'll always remember the nearly 3,000 innocent lives taken from us, but we should also remember what New Yorkers did next. Firefighters and police officers ran towards danger. Recovery workers labored for months, and ordinary New Yorkers gave blood. They brought food, volunteered, and helped complete strangers. At one of the darkest moments in our history, this city showed the very best of itself. I can think of no better way to mark the 25th anniversary than to take care of those still living with the consequences of that day and to pass that spirit of service on to the next generation. So I hope colleagues from across this body will join me in supporting these bills, and I think it would be particularly meaningful if we could work together to pass them before September 11th, the actual 25th anniversary. Never forget shouldn't just describe how we remember the past, it should guide what we do today. Jeff, best of luck in your next step, and we're going to miss you. I hope whoever sits in that chair next has a stopwatch that doesn't work quite so well. Thank you.
He loves rules, for sure. Councilmember Hanks, followed by Banks, and then Carr.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Today, I'm introducing Reso 594, calling on the MTA to correct the inequity in its resident rebate program. The MTA already recognizes motorcycles as a lower toll class than passenger vehicles, yet under the resident rebate program, motorcycle riders do not receive the same lower effective toll that the MTA recognizes for motorcycles under the regular toll structure, and this simply isn't fair. We are asking the MTA to create a new discount. We are asking them to apply their existing toll policy consistently. A resident rebate should reduce a toll, not erase an existing toll benefit. So I encourage my colleagues to sign on to this resolution and join me in calling for the MTA to fix this inequity. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Councilmember Banks, followed by Carr.
Thank you, Majority Leader, and thank you to Speaker Menon for your support. Today, I'm proud to introduce Intro 991, legislation that will help New York City deliver small capital projects more efficiently and cost efficiently and with less bureaucracy. Too often, the city spends valuable time and resources designing similar small-scale structures from scratch, resulting in unnecessary delays and avoidable costs and lower delivery of services and infrastructure that our communities depend on. This bill would require the DDC, in consultation with DCAS and other relevant agencies, to establish and maintain a catalog of pre-approved standard designs for small capital structures by leveraging proven and ready-to-use designs whenever feasible. The city can streamline planning and procurement, reduce design costs, and accelerate construction timelines while still retaining the flexibility needed to address unique site conditions or project requirements. At a time when every taxpayer dollar must be spent wisely, we should embrace the practical solutions that make government more effective. This legislation is about improving efficiency, strengthening accountability, and ensuring that public projects move from concept to completion more quickly. Whether it is in a comfort station or a maintenance facility, storage building, or other neighborhood infrastructure, New Yorkers deserve projects that are delivered on time, on budget, and with minimal administrative delay. This is a common sense reform that will help modernize the city's capital process and minimize the impact of limited public resource. By reducing redundancies and promoting consistencies across projects, we can deliver needed infrastructure faster, better, and serve communities across the 5 boroughs. I urge my colleagues to support this.
Thank you, Councilmember.
Intro 991. Thank you.
Councilmember Carr, followed by Zhuang.
Thank you, Majority Leader. You don't have to be in New York City long to know that it's a city alive with noise. It's filled with loud traffic, blaring sirens, deafening music, booming construction, and yelling, chanting people at our public gatherings by our fellow New Yorkers who are never short on opinions. Hopefully, we all have a place to get away and escape all that deafening noise, but our police officers can't. Many studies, including one recently done by the National Institutes of Health, have found that police officers are particularly at risk of acute or chronic hearing damage. Another has found that 34% of law enforcement officers suffer noise-induced hearing loss or tinnitus, a significantly higher rate than other occupations and more than twice the rate of the general public. That is why the chair of our Public Safety, Councilmember Feliz, and I are introducing Introduction 997, a bill to create a pilot program that would require the NYPD to provide in-ear electronic hearing protection equipment to our officers, which would reduce the decibels of excessively loud noise while also allowing them to hear their surroundings and maintain situational awareness. The bill would also require the NYPD to publish a report on the pilot program's effectiveness and whether it should be made permanent and expanded. In the future, this may be a program that could be rolled out to other first responders as well. These devices could not only save thousands of police officers from unnecessary hearing damage and loss, but also save the taxpayers from the medical costs of treating this chronic health problem. So I urge my colleagues to sign on to our legislation and help us protect the hearing of those brave men and women who protect us all. Thank you.
Councilmember Zhuang, followed by Brooks Powers.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Today I'm proud to introduce Intro 1019 to require NYC agent to study which platform are most frequently used by different groups of older adults and create a plan to advertising on them. Currently, New York City agencies use many platforms to connect with older adults. However, I do not know whether older adults from different backgrounds use those platforms. For example, many Chinese American older adults using WeChat, on which agencies do not, and I never see they do any advertising there. And I see they have all the beautiful Chinese translation in Facebook, which is older adults are not there. In addition, many older adults don't use digital platforms at all, and we need more data on what non-digital resources they rely on to get information. Second, I have a resolution to ask the state to authorize the City of New York to provide a full exemption from real estate taxation to homeowners eligible to SCHE so they can stay in their homes and age in place. So our older adults able to pay less tax. Also, I want to give a shout out to 3 young, wonderful ladies follow me today. 3 of them want to be lawyers, and they are my summer interns. I have Sandy Cheng here, Sabrina Hu, and Ben Ying Huang. I wish tomorrow will be the last day with me, so I wish them best of luck in the new semester. And I wish all the students in the summer have a wonderful summer and get ready for your school. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Brooks Powers, followed by Gennaro.
Thank you. I want to begin by acknowledging 4 of my outstanding interns who are with us today. They're up in the balcony. Samira Green, Miles Hibbert, Olana Kanu, and Yohaniel Evangelista. Thank you for all the work you have done on behalf of the 31st Council District. Next, I'm proud to introduce 2 bills intending to bring dignity to families in some of their most vulnerable moments. The first bill, Intro 995, would require the NYPD to train all officers on the laws and policies governing the use of physical restraints on people in custody who are pregnant or postpartum, including the protections of our state's anti-shackling laws. In May of this year, a woman gave birth in Brooklyn Criminal Court shortly before midnight while restrained on a low-level charge without adequate medical care, privacy, or dignity. This law requires the NYPD to report every year on the officers it has trained on the dignity and basic level of care that should be afforded of mothers in those moments. The second bill, Intro 996, amends a 2019 law to require the NYPD to report publicly each quarter on arrests where a child was present, the precinct, the number and ages of the children, and whether each child was left in the care of another adult. When a parent or caregiver is arrested, a child is often there to see it and possibly left without care. Our city collects no data on how often this happens or who these children are, and with this, we can more accurately direct support to these families and the organizations that serve them. Thank you, and I urge my colleagues to join me in advancing these. And again, I'd like to just ask folks, if you see my interns on the way out, just speak to them and pour into them. I love seeing when we have our young kids here taking part in civic engagement. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Gennaro, followed by Marte.
Thank you, Mr. Majority Leader. I see now that my statement will run over 2 minutes, so rather than make a statement here, I'll put out a public statement so I can get my full message out. But thanks for acknowledging me.
Thank you. Councilmember Marte, followed by Epstein.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Today I'm proud to reintroduce Intro 1008, legislation to protect the health care of New York City municipal retirees. For decades, our retirees served this city with the understanding that when they retire, the health care they earn would be there for them. Yet, after years of uncertainty, they remain vulnerable to future efforts to privatize their care, restrict which doctors they can see, or impose new copays and other out-of-pocket costs. This bill will make sure that that cannot happen. It prohibits the city from diminishing healthcare coverage for Medicare-eligible retirees and their dependents, including by forcing them into privatized Medicare plans with limited provider networks or increasing what they have to pay for care. And I want to be very clear. This legislation does not undermine collective bargaining. The bill explicitly preserves the right of unions to negotiate terms and conditions for employment, including future retirement benefits for active employees they represent. As we work towards the larger goal of universal health care, where nobody access to a doctor depends on their employer, income, or insurance company, we cannot allow healthcare people already earned to be taken away. Progress cannot mean moving backwards for our retirees. The immediate Medicare Advantage proposal may be off the table. Retirees should not have to spend the rest of their lives worrying whether the health care they depend on will be taken away by the next administration or one after. The Council has a responsibility to provide that certainty. I urge my colleagues to join us, sign on to Intro 1008, stand with our retirees, and protect the health care that they earn through decades of service in this city. Thank you.
Councilmember Epstein, followed by Shulman.
Thank you. I want to really talk about something we've seen over the last month across Councilmember Maloney's district, the Speaker's district, and my district around Legionnaires. And I really want to applaud the Speaker for her leadership on this and having a hearing in September to talk about it. Down by me, we unfortunately have a development where over 1,000 residents are deeply concerned about the impact that it's having on their health. And I'm introducing Introduction 999, which is talking about making sure we set up clinics and locations so people get tested to understand what's going on. We have people who are living in fear and they don't know what to do. And, unfortunately, we lost 7 New Yorkers, and we can do better. We know it's going to come back. We know Legionnaires is an issue that continues. And I look forward to the Council having this hearing and legislating in a way that helps New Yorkers. I'm also proud to reintroduce 998, called the Lights Out legislation. People know about 250,000 migratory birds die annually in New York City, part of confusion and related to the nighttime about buildings that are lit at night. It's a bird crisis, but it's an environmental issue too. We're lighting buildings that not need to be lit. It also has a human impact. It is a human catastrophe going on. It adds pollen into the environment. People with allergies gets worse. It's a serious human impact, an environmental impact, an animal impact. These issues together, hopefully we'll be able to see this bill come to a hearing this year and look forward to its swift passage. This is something we've been working on, I know, since Donovan Richards, the Queensborough president, introduced it over 10 years ago. I look forward to passing it when we get the opportunity. Thank you.
Councilmember Shulman, followed by Gutierrez.
Thank you. I want to start out by acknowledging our intern, Scarlett Perez, who's in the balcony. Today is her last day. She is a constituent and a student at Yale. And I also had an intern who left recently from the Auschwitz Jewish Center Foundation, Newton Mayerfield. So I want to acknowledge him as well. I want to start by thanking Speaker Menon for her tireless leadership on public health this summer and for the seriousness with which she's approached the Legionnaire's disease outbreak on the Upper East Side. During the outbreak this summer, too many New Yorkers didn't know where to turn to, who to call, what symptoms to watch for, how to get connected to care. That kind of uncertainty during a public health emergency only adds to people's fear and can slow down our response. That's why I'm introducing Intro 1016 today to require the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene to establish and maintain a Legionnaire's disease hotline during the summer months and whenever outbreaks occur. This hotline will be staffed with healthcare providers who can answer questions and connect callers to medical guidance, resources, and care. Public health information should never be hard to find in a moment of crisis. This bill will help ensure that the next time Legionnaire's disease strikes, New Yorkers will know exactly where to turn. I look forward to chairing the oversight hearing in September and to working with my colleagues to advance this legislation and other legislation and improve our city's response to public health emergencies. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Gutierrez, followed by Nurse.
Thank you. I want to just quickly say thank you wholeheartedly to my 4 wonderful interns whose last day is today, Amelia, Razone Chen, and Camille. Thank you so much. I think they're somewhere over here. Maybe they left, but thank you so much for giving District 34 your summer. I also want to take a second to speak about what occurred this past Monday in Colombia that experienced a 7.4 magnitude earthquake.
I want to share my condolences to every single Colombian who lost a loved one. The state of Chocó and cities like Pereira, Manizales, Cali have had buildings, churches, hospitals collapse, and the death toll continues to rise, and thousands are still missing. I've had to take breaks myself from the news because the images of babies and people being pulled from rubble is truly, truly jarring. However, the coverage of everyday Colombians joining in to recover those bodies, to demand silence at these sites, just to see if they can hear if any survivors are still speaking, is a reminder of how united and how resilient we are under a crisis, which we are not new to. While those impacted wait for a newly inaugurated right-wing administration to take action, neighbors are throwing down to help, and Colombians in New York City are doing the same by leading collection drives. I want to thank all of those businesses, organizations, and friends in government who are leading their own efforts, my district office included. I also want to recognize the people here, the council staff and city hall staff with families in Colombia who are sharing in this grief. My prayers to your family. En español solamente voy a decir que obviamente este lunes pasamos en el país de Colombia un terremoto y en este momento voluntarios y vecinos están trabajando fuertemente para ayudar a recuperar esos cuerpos y les quiero dar las gracias a todos los voluntarios, negocios que están organizando para mandar útiles a nuestro país. And I just want to say that while we're just weeks away from Hispanic Heritage Month, Colombia had an earthquake, Venezuela had an earthquake, Puerto Rico is in a water shortage. I hope that we can do more than celebrate music and food because our countries cannot do that without clean water and emergency supplies. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilmember, for your remarks. Councilmember Nurse, followed by Pirina Sanchez.
Thank you, Majority Leader. I'll be short. I just want to also recognize two of our interns from this summer, Leilani Davis-Warner and Afan Chowdhury. They were excellent. Our team was so proud to have them, and they did a lot of work in our office. We're really excited to see them off into the world and also have them come back and visit us in the future. You all were great. Thank you so much for all your support this summer, and thank you, Majority Leader.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Pirina Sanchez, followed by Brewer.
Thank you, Majority Leader. I first also want to acknowledge my legislative fellow, Dylan Campos. Last stated with us, you've been amazing. My whole team is here from the district, so what up? But on a more serious note, I want to talk a little bit about the insane movie-style level of violence that is happening in my district, in Altias, in Oswald Felices. Just yesterday, we had allegations. There was a terrible fire, 4 businesses lost on 183rd Street, and there are allegations that it was arson, that some of those businesses were not legitimate, they were just fronts, and someone almost lost his life. Thank God he did not. And we just, as the news crews were out there, we had open-air drug sales. We just had people dealing the drugs in front of New York One, in front of Telemundo, in front of Fox 5, in front of NYPD, in front of the level of violence that's happening in our district with respect to the illegal drug trade, I'm crying out for help. I thank my colleagues, I thank you, Speaker, for visiting, but we need so much more than we have, and I can't do it alone, and I'm literally crying, I'm crying figuratively. We need help, and if we don't get it, more people are gonna die. A 15-year-old died last night due to gun violence. I can't do it alone. Help Mayor, help Governor, help all of the leaders. I'm introducing legislation today to fix up properties. I won't talk too much about it. J51 is an as-of-right tax incentive. Senator Kavanaugh passed it, the Housing Chair in the Senate passed it earlier this year. We are going to be reauthorizing it. Please join me, colleagues, so that our buildings can get fixed up with this tax incentive. That's all I can say. Thank you, Majority Leader.
All right, we got 2 more to go. Council members Brewer and Hankerson.
Thank you very much. I do want to thank the amazing interns during the summer, Phoebe Adler, Jane Blue, who's an Alvan Fellow and going off to Taiwan, Rebecca Chen, Mateo Gregorio, Julia Herenich, Ariane Chanumat, Sadie Alvarez, Sophia Figueroa, and Veronica Hunt are here, and there are many more. Make sure you pick up the most recent city and state It's called Gail's Interns Are on the Case, and it's a fabulous article about the work that they've been doing. I cannot thank them enough. On pedicabs, Intro 992, which I hope you support, would strengthen the current pedicab law. It would require city-approved meters and ID and signs and things that they don't have now, like scannable codes on their registration plates. Intro 993 would make a bigger change, moving the pedicab oversight from the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection to the Taxi and Limousine Commission, where they would have the same oversight as taxis, which I think is really important. There are now 850 pedicab plates, maybe 1,500 operating in 2024, many of them having bogus credentials, 172 complaints recently, and they need to have a better industry, and that's what this legislation calls for. Intro 994 requires that they have insurance. It's a complicated bill, but you should look at it, and I hope you support it. There are so many people who should be thanked. Certainly, Judge Wang, who's with the Midtown Community Justice Center, everyone at the Central Park Conservancy, the Times Square Alliance, and most importantly, the New York Pedicab Alliance, which works with the pedicab on the council legislative team, Elliot Heisler, Margaret Lyford, Wellesley Jones, and Nell Beckman, and from my office, Shula Puder, and former staffer Sam Goldsmith. I hope this legislation passes because it will help in making an industry more responsive, but also help tourists see Central Park in a way that they can without if the horses disappear. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Councilmember Hankerson, is anyone else who'd like to speak for general discussion that hasn't spoken yet? All right, Councilmember Hankerson, I believe.
Thank you. I'll be very quick since I'm last, so we can go. I wanted to take this opportunity to express my gratitude for my summer interns who are in the balcony. Our interns do so much to assist our constituents and improve their lives. Many of my interns are here today, so I wanted to quickly shout them all out. First, my SYP interns, Madison, who is a rising junior at Morgan State University, Kalea, who is about to start her freshman year at York College, Quinn, who recently transferred from Keene University and is exploring going back to school, Constance, who just graduated from New York Career and Business School, Hamad, who is a rising senior at Hunter College, Russell, who is a master's student at NYU's Graduate School of Arts and Science. I have deep respect for all of the interns that have worked to serve the grade 28, and I wish them the best in their futures and hope that they come back to serve in other capacities at some point. So congratulations to you all. Thank you for serving our district.
Thank you. I'll now call on Speaker Julie Menon to close today's stated meeting.
Okay, thank you. Just a couple quick announcements. First of all, I want to extend our deepest condolences to Councilmember Farrah Lewis on the passing of her father, Andre Lewis. We've been in touch with the council member. She's just transmitted to us the details about the arrangement, so we will be sending that out this afternoon for any member that can join. And I know we all join in extending to the council member our deepest condolence for this loss. One other matter, I just wanted to build upon what Councilmember Shulman, Epstein, and Maloney talked about with Legionnaires. There were 7 deaths in my district and Councilmember Maloney's district due to Legionnaires. We have 5 residents still in critical condition in the hospital. It's a very, very difficult situation. We have, I know Councilmember Epstein left, we've got the situation in his district. And so we're having a hearing on September 2nd, and I really urge everyone to attend. We've got a number of really great bill ideas to try to fix the gaps in what is happening, because sadly, council passed some legislation, but many of the building owners were not complying with the legislation. There were a ton of vacancies that weren't filled in the health department for inspectors, for water ecologists. So we have a lot of questions. We have a lot of good bills in the package. We're looking at more. So if you have bill ideas on Legionnaires that you want us to look at, please send them to the Ledge Division. And I urge everyone to join the hearing. It's September 2nd at 10. And with that, that closes the stated meeting of August 13th, 2026.